So throughout the years, I advised people building story banks to pass interviews, and I was able to successfully correlate this approach of preparing story bank with passing interviews recurrently, right? So it's the most professional, the best way I recommend people to prepare seriously for job interviews. However, there are some niche scenarios where you'd want to maybe think twice on whether this story bank or preparing a full story bank would be the best approach for you. First scenario here would be when you prepare for a phone screening round, which, that's on short notice. You have 2-3 days to prepare that. A story bank, even if it might help you, it won't be the main thing to pass a phone screening round. All right, there are other ways you could go around this. You could maybe focus on preparing only a handful of stories and a handful of highlights from your career, because it's just a one-off experience. It's the gamble, and that's pretty much it. So in the case of a phone screening round, a story bank is not the main thing. Now, to give you a little bit of insight of what some of my clients do would be, it's also possible that due to the fact that you're scheduled for a phone screening round, you realize the need you have to become better at interviewing, and then you actually book. You decide to allocate significant resources to significantly improve your interviewing skills. For example, some people prefer to book 5 sessions, the 5-session package with me before a phone screening round, on the idea that, hey, yes, regardless of the outcome of the phone screening round, I will want to improve my interviewing skills and ultimately, of course, the story bank, right? So it's also possible to give this a bit of context. But strictly speaking, and since I talk about passing job interviews, for passing a phone screening round on short notes, especially a story bank is not the main thing. Better get a referral if you want, right? The second scenario I'd like to talk about here would be if you're 1 week or less before your final interview happens, or your final interview rounds happen. In my experience, and I have access to many thousands of your stories, and I've been coaching thousands of people as well. If you're 1 week or less before your interview, not many people are successful in building a story bank, because it's an elaborate process. Maybe you have other priorities, but 1 week is not enough to go around to prepare a proper story bank. So to speak, this is, simply statistics. You might be exceptions, but in my experience, this doesn't work. The third scenario here would be, don't prepare a story bank if you don't have stories, right? So if you're a fresher, you only have 3 stories you could talk about. Yeah, you could call that a story bank, but don't put goals such as, I want to prepare 20 stories, okay? You don't have to split those 3 stories in 20, right? Just to acknowledge where you are and, try to do your best during the interview. Maybe, some other stuff will play a more important role than preparing a story bank, such as, showing energy and enthusiasm during a job interview. This is the type of approach which works best for freshers in particular. Maybe you have to prepare the technical side a lot more than the behavioral, right? Because that's how it usually goes in these entry-level roles, right? And the fourth scenario I'd like to talk about here, and I believe this would be a quite interesting one for many of you to hear, is I would not recommend starting your story bank, again, excluding the scenario of a phone screening round, or if you're 1 week or less before interview, or if you're a fresher. I wouldn't recommend starting a story bank if you lack confidence. So if you're not sold on the idea that a story bank would be the best approach for you to thoroughly and properly and successfully prepare for that job interview, I would very much recommend you to talk to someone who's more knowledgeable than you on this matter, ideally an interview coach, on, hey, what's the best approach? Or maybe have a better idea on how you should go about interviewing, because in my experience, there are plenty of candidates who give perfectly all right answers, even without having a story bank. So you could, at least in theory, prepare the job interview successfully, even without a story bank approach, or I should say only answer, the old-fashioned way of just answering interview questions. And then you would want to tune it up with an interview coach on, hey, what's scoring better on things such as specificity and building some listening skills from there. Could also be possible that. But long story short, if you lack confidence, then I believe, in my opinion, I'd recommend you talk to someone who's more knowledgeable, maybe advise you on, hey, what's the best approach tailored to your specific needs. Or if you're particularly busy person, then this approach might also be the most favorable to you, right? So hopefully you found this interesting, and thank you very much for watching.